What's going on, guys? Dave with Miracle Canine Training. We're out here with Murphy right now. So we made our first video with Murphy just under a week ago. He had just gotten dropped off for some pretty serious human aggression issues. Had some issues with other dogs, was just becoming a huge problem. We'll have some clips here for you guys to see of that. So the first video that we made was just basically the introduction stages of how we start to get a dog like this comfortable with us. So just, introducing our basic commands, teaching them how to work for their food, building a good work ethic, and just essentially showing them a lot of those nonsense behaviors just don't work. He was acting aggressively out of fear. So as he started to trust us a little bit more, we were able to get some really good breakthroughs and get some really great motivation out of him using the food. So now that we have that accomplished here with him, our next steps is going to be to continue building our communication. So with any dogs, we have lots of layers of communication that we use with them in order to teach them, right? I want to have as many different ways possible to be able to get my point across to this dog of what it is that I want them to do or don't want them to do. We typically start with food communication. So do they know how to move with food and work for it and access a reward out of us? Do they know how to move with the leash? So basic leash pressure understandings, which we just recently did a video of that with my dog Vinny. Do they understand how to physically get into positions, sits, downs on the bed, recalls, heeling, using the leash only? Do we have verbal communication established? Have we done a good job of pairing those commands with those different things? Once we have those three accomplished, our next step is adding in the remote collar into this. So this process is going to be teaching him what the stimulation on the e-collar means in conjunction or in association with different commands. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be running him through two basic commands we've taught so far. So his bed stay as well as his recall, and I'm going to be conditioning in the pressure at a low level. So low enough where he's hardly even feeling it. It's just background sensation that he's starting to associate and make the connection of when I feel this in conjunction with this command, I can turn this pressure off by doing A, B, C, or D, right? So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be running him through some bed stays and then some recalls. And each time I give that command, right after I give the command, I'm going to be pressing and holding the button. So applying continuous stimulation at a low, essentially annoying level to him. And I'm only going to be releasing that pressure when he completes the command. So either when he gets onto the bed or when he gets next to me. I'll start with a bunch of bed stays here, putting him on the bed, having him hold it for a minute and then releasing him. Then I'll jump into some recalls and we'll make sure that he starts to associate this process. In these early stages of the e-collar training that we're doing, the goal is not that the e-collar is doing the work. The goal is that they're just starting to make the connection that the e-collar means the same thing as all this other jargon that we've taught him so far. So once he starts to make the connection and understand that, then we can start to increase our motivation and use our e-collar in a little bit more of the sensation of like an invisible leash. So if I'm walking with him, I could use the e-collar in place of where I would use the leash. Or, if I'm getting him to do a bed stay and he doesn't do it, I could use the e-collar in place of where I would normally use a leash to then help him onto the position and ultimately get him to a point where this is doing 99% of the work if we don't have or if he doesn't do the things that we're asking him to do. So we're gonna go ahead and demonstrate that for you guys, and then we'll go ahead and show you a little bit more of the process of how we're working through him in more public setting with the walking stuff that we've done so far and continuing to prove all of that kind of stuff. So hope you enjoy the video. Take a look. All right, so right now we have a sound box linked up to the remote collar here, so you're gonna be able to hear a tone every time I'm pressing and holding this button or engaging the e-collar. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with bed stays. He's laying on the bed right now, obviously, but he's not currently in a bed stay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk over here, I'm gonna call him over, Murphy, bed, good. Once he gets onto the bed, I'm releasing that button. So as soon as I give the command, I'm engaging the collar, and I'm releasing once he gets into command here. From there, I'm gonna go ahead and walk around. If he were to step off of the bed at this point, I would engage the e-collar, help him back on, and release it when he got on again. Whenever I wanna release him, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back, good. I'll reward for that duration I just did, okay, then I'll release him. Bed, good. Same process, getting him into the bed stay, engaging the e-collar right after the command, releasing when he gets onto the bed here. Now, this is a dog that has already done this stuff. You've seen the video of him learning this stuff with food, so the process of adding the e-collar in is pretty straightforward. We'll be making some videos in the future here on dogs that do not have any food drive, dogs that we're gonna be teaching a little bit more so with the e-collar and how that process can vary a little bit. But if your dog already knows the command, or if you have a way of getting your dog into the commands, this is the process you would go about doing this with. Good. Okay. Bed. Good. Again, having him hold that command for a moment there. Quick equipment malfunction. Drop the sound box out of my pocket here, but we're back at it. So again, going back, he held the bed stay the entire time there like a good boy. Good. Rewarding for duration. Okay. Bed. Good. Now, obviously, the sound box is a little obnoxious right now. It's a little loud, but this is just for the purpose of teaching, so you guys can hear exactly when I'm using the e-collar here. Like I said, anytime you hear that tone going, I'm on the button, I'm holding it down, and I'm only releasing it when he finishes the command I'm trying to get. Good. So I'll do one more of these. Okay. Bed. Good. Yep. Bed. It's a prime example of him messing up in that situation. As soon as he steps off, I'm ready and I'm on the e-collar. I'm helping him back on in any way I need to. So in this case, a little bit of body language. If I needed to, I can grab the leash and help him back on. I could repeat my command. And then once he finishes the command again, I'll go ahead and release that button as well. So essentially we're playing like floor is lava here. Anytime he steps off, e-collar is engaged. Good. We're just trying to make sure he makes that connection of what this e-collar means. We are teaching this language in association with these commands. Okay. Bed. Good. Bed. Again, stepping off, re-engaging the e-collar, releasing when he gets on. I'll go ahead and do one more of these. Good. Okay. Bed. Good. Good. Okay. All right, so the next process that we're going to add into this is going to be our recalls. Same concept here. I'm going to create distance, give my come command, press and hold the button, and release when he gets next to me. I do not care if he's sitting. I do not care if he's downing or standing. He just needs to be next to me. Once he finishes that command, I'll release him with OK, create some more distance, and repeat that process. Come. Good. And then as soon as he gets next to me, come. Marking, rewarding, then okay, releasing. Now I do teach my recall as an implied stay as well. So you'll notice once I call him to me, I expect him to stay in that bubble until he's given another command. Murphy, come. Good. So marking, rewarding, still not free to get up yet. So if he were to leave, I will engage the e-collar again. Okay, and then I'll release him. Murphy, come. Good. See, he's kind of catching himself there. Up, come. Okay, then I'll release him. Murphy, come. Good. Making sure he's waiting. Again, take your time focusing on, come. Focusing on these early stages and making sure he's stable and understanding clearly that he needs to wait for his release to get up. Okay, because we teach everything as an implied stay, it's essential that the dog learns from day one they're not allowed to get up until given that okay release marker here. If you get sloppy with that early on, you're gonna have a lot harder of a time stabilizing your positions later on as you're working on this. So we'll go ahead and do two more. Murphy, come. Good. Come. Okay. And one last one. Murphy, come. Good. Now, as you're doing this, you're going to notice when you're working on your bed stays and your recalls, which command is a stronger command to the dog. So in his case, every time I release him, okay, he tends to want to go back to the bed. right? You see he's kind of going all the way over there. And that's because that's the first command we teach. It's a very stable position for the dog. It's a clear target for them to go to. So if I start noticing that he's gluing to the bed in between recalls, I'm going to work on more recalls until I start to see that even out. On the contrary, if I start to notice that he's staying too close to me while we're working and I can't even create any distance, I'm going to start working on more bed stays. And I'm going to constantly be altering that to make sure both commands are just about as smooth as the other. So we'll do one more here. Murphy, come. Good. Okay. You see how now he's starting to give me a little bit more attention, which just means that recall's getting a little smoother. Murphy, come. Good. Okay. Now, this is only day 2 of the remote collar process. I did this exact same session with him yesterday, last night, and he did very well with it. So we're going to continue building on this. I'm going to continue making sure he has a really solid understanding of all of this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start to layer that e-collar in with more commands. We're going to start combining things a little bit more and continuing to make this stuff just look a little bit more concrete and proofed. But this is another layer of communication. It's a really important step. Even though we're doing the same thing as what we were doing when we were just working with the food, this tool implementing into these commands puts us in a position where later on, when we're out in a field and we're working a recall or a downstay or a bedstay or whatever, and he gets distracted by a squirrel, a bird, a person, a dog, whatever it may be, I know that he understands this tool. If I need to start increasing the levels in those situations, he knows what to do, right? We've already conditioned it in at a lower level where he knows it, so as it gets more motivating, he should know exactly how to turn that pressure off. So if you have any questions on this process, let us know. We're gonna start getting into the walk next.